Hi, this is Ed Fleming. I'm doing this YouTube to show you how I make a small bench. This one's for my grandson Mark, and the other one is for a friend Victor's granddaughter. I can make a bench like this with conventional equipment in about 6 hours, and I've got about a month and a half in making these stools and getting this video. I've had to make parts over so I could get them on the video. What you saw there was what I call my sign plate. It's a fixture that allows me to tilt them so that I can uh, cut the angles on the leg so they'll splay out. I mount them, the first two screws are mounted in the leg opening, and then we cut the counter bores first. First we'll line it up on the right hand corner, touch off, and you calculate it to get to the center. Here we come and we touch the plate. This is an electronic device. It gives me the zero. Now I tell it to go to zero, and it's there. I do the counter bores for the side reinforcing rails, which also pull the joints together when I machine it. Now I'll screw screws into those counterboard holes, which will allow me to cut the profile on it. If I cut the profile with just the leg joint, it would come loose and flop around. Now we're making one pass slow. It's a little bit scary here because you don't know for sure if I'm going to hit my damn screws. Now it's 20 times speed, and the profile is almost finished. I tilt it up now with the sign plate fixture, and I can cut the angles on the box joints so that it displays the legs out. And that again is 20 times. It'll slow down in a second to normal speed just to give you an idea of the normal speed. And I make 7 passes. I should do it in probably 6 because I don't need to go any deeper, but I'm not very damn good at the CNC yet, and it takes me a long time to get it right, to be honest with you. As some of my friends can testify when I tell them I'll make something for them with the thing, and it takes me forever to do it. So there you go, that's that. Next we'll be doing the engraving of the girl's head on the end of it for Victor's granddaughter. We're setting the cutter now. This is the pointed cutter, and now we'll start engraving it. Now this is 20 times fast, and we will, now if I gave this in real time, this would take about 2 hours to cut it. That is real time, and see how slow it is? Can you imagine sitting here for an hour and a half watching this video, and for that, you know, grass would grow quicker. The thing about it is it goes nice and slow, and it gets such a nice finish you don't even have to sand it. It just comes out almost perfect. In a minute we'll slow it down and show you what real time is like. Actually, I guess that's the one where it's slowed down right there. It's just slow as hell. And now we're 20 times. It'll go a little bit more, then we'll switch over and show you a finished girl's head with it. Just a little, there it is, that's the girl's head, and it's just finished with no sanding. That's an eagle, a little messed up, but that's the eagle. Now we're going to do the seat. Here we go, the counter bores again. When you screw the legs onto the side reinforcing rails, well, first I mount the seat onto the side reinforcing rails. I'm very careful to line the rails up with the notches. Anyway, we'll put these counter bores in, and then we'll screw it down, and then it'll cut the handle out, and that's why I screw it down, because if I cut the handle out, then the piece would flop around. And this will go pretty rapidly in a minute. We'll let it take a pass. And here we go. There's the hole for the handle, and now we cut this out. Again, it's 20 times as fast. It's pretty fast. The end mill does does a nice job on the end grain, does a nice clean job on cutting the profile on this stuff. It's amazing. Don't hardly have to sand it. We're going to be cutting the notches next. I've cut them a little too long on the left end of it, and it's going to cut the left end and it's going to cut the right end of this seat notches for the box joints. Now that's real time right there. It gives you an idea how long it takes to cut one of them. Not real long really. And on all of these I've got it set for 8 passes, and I don't need to go that far, although when I tilt it up I do need to go that far, so maybe I should leave it alone. So it'll go to the other end, it'll cut them. Now this is where I made a mistake, because I should have only cut the left end of it and not the right end, and then I would cut the left end, I would lift the sign plate up as I'm going to do now, and then now this probably takes 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to change the angle on it. It's not really very long. And I lock it in and it cuts the angle very close. See, now here I could have just cut it at one time, because it's doing everything it would have to do to cut it at one time. Now we've gone into make, and I probably will end up making one more from scratch. Now we're engraving Mark's inscription on the end of it. And this is 20 times speed. I'll slow it down in a minute and show you what real time is like. Again, this engraving is probably going to take a half of an hour. There's real time. You can see how slow it is. And after we finish this, there's real time. I guess it was 4 times there for me, but that's real time. Seems like it takes forever. So after this is finished cutting, we'll show you the engraved part, what it looks like. I don't know if engraving is the right terminology or not. There's one step I didn't show in this whole process, and that is that I need to turn each of these box joints over and put a radius on the back side to match the cutter radius. There's Mark's engraving. And I also have to, and I'm going to plug the ends later. This is the plugs that I make, and there they are again, ready to be put in this semi-finished. Now here's the radiuses. You can see what I have to have the radius. And here's the semi-finished stool. And this is assembling it. Like I say, I don't work this fast really. I have that angled piece of wood in. It's fit up against the joints, and I line the side reinforcing rail up against that to make sure I got it just registered just right. When I get the side reinforcing bars on, then I can slide the end legs onto them and put one clamp, and then the screw pulls it into the joint. It works out pretty well. I say pretty well. I should be making the joints a little bit looser so they go in a little bit better. Now you see I've positioned it against that bar. I put this in. I put the screws in. Pull it down nice and tight. And you can't see it, but I'm feeling the edge along there to make sure it's lined up right. Now I can put the legs on it. I clamp it in the vise, and I can't unscrew that vise that fast either, I'll tell you. And now I don't glue it as fast as you see this. I really wished I could do that as fast, but I can't. I think the glue would come awfully close to holding the thing, but the screws help, and it adds a little detail, the plugs when they're in there. And I don't try to put the plugs to the grain ones. I actually let it show, because I think it looks nice. So, see, now I put a clamp on it, and you can't see it, but I have a notch board on the other side. Tighten it up a little bit. Now I can put the screws in and pull the legs against the end. It just tightens them right in. Now this, I'll put a clamp across it to make sure I pull those things in a little tighter. to get them to match the angle on the leg. And that's because I just don't have everything perfect like I should. So they say, so there it is, that's the end. And here's my production yield. I've got 6 of them. This is one, the darker one is finished and it was done before this set. So that's my process of making a CNC wooden stool. Like I say, I could have probably made 30 stools in the time it's taken me to make these 6, and I may never make another one. I don't know. I'm pretty tired of stools right now. So that's my story. I'm going to stick with it.